On the 12th of April 2015, the World Federation embarked on its largest mission yet, bringing 454 extremely vulnerable and victimized people to safety. These were the Yemeni Hoja Shia Ithna Asharis, who were persecuted because of their faith and origin. They were threatened and hounded out of their homes simply because they refused to take sides in the bloody conflict. This is their story, the story of their journey to safety, their courage and patience as they struggle with the hardship of being homeless. It is the story of their hope to start a new life in a new country where they will be free to practice their faith. This is also your story, the story of your generosity and philanthropy, the story of selfless volunteers who dropped everything at short notice and came to serve the devastated refugees. It is the story of a community that followed in the footsteps of its elders and once again rescued their own from being massacred.
Sana'a is a city under siege.
What do you think the intention is? When will it be mission accomplished?
There is no way, it is not empty, it's full of families.
This one has to think of this in a more strategic way. Yemen is really the backyard of Saudi Arabia. I think as we speak, the deal is being sealed.
The Hoja Shias were weavers and dominated the textile industry in India. During colonial rule, the British government monopolized the textile industry, and the Hojas found themselves struggling to support themselves and their families. In search for greener pastures, the Hoja Shias first migrated from India to Aden, Yemen in 1857. The first Shia mosque was built in Mukalla at the end of the 19th century. In Aden, the Jamaat started in 1889, and the mosque was also established then, known simply as Hoja Mosque, and later renamed as Husseini Masjid. A remarkable deed attached to the history of this mosque is that the philanthropic community members who donated their funds, time, and energy towards the construction of this center specifically mentioned in their wills that their names should not be disclosed. This is the spirit and legacy of our forefathers. On the 16th of July 2015, this mosque was destroyed to rubble in an act of extreme hatred towards the Hoja Shias. The Husseini Mosque was their school, their identity, their place of worship, mourning, and recreation. It was a part of their heritage, history, and roots. It was their honor and their pride, today lying in a heap of bricks and sand. The Hojas, therefore, have been settled in Yemen for almost 200 years. They had successful businesses or jobs and led safe, comfortable lives. Since the 1990s, there has been a gradual increase in the anti-Shia rhetoric, which recently escalated and affected our Shia brethren terribly. Despite not being part of any political movement, they were targeted, sadly by both sides, targeted in such an extreme manner and to such a point that they had to leave their homeland in order to save their lives, honor, and dignity.
The war was going on between the two rivals, the Houthis and who were with the Salafi parties in several parts of North Yemen. I saw that maybe there is some problem will be created for us and asked all the people to leave.
As the war started, there is one big problems that you are Shia. And this problem give us a big problem too.
We are well known in our area that we are Shia, but with the strength of the Salafists present in Aden, things start to be changed. Even the people that they were like best friends or neighbors, they start to change their image about us. This verbal harassment changed to threats because they start writing on the walls that Rafida killed to Rafida because of the war started in the north between Al-Houthiyyin and Salafists. And it's also reflected of us because we are Rafida here for them in Aden. There were some good people. They did not take this badly, but some people, they had no education, they could take this seriously. And then when Houthis controlled Sana'a, it becomes worse because now Shia are persecuting Sunnah, and we are the small minority of Shia in Aden. And they think we are from the same group of Houthis. They don't know that there is difference between Zaydi and Ithna Ashari. When we go to mosque especially, we can see them like looking to us in not a good way. Sometimes they threw stones on our door of Husseiniya when we go to, especially Muharram days. It became worse and worse because many people were killed from our neighborhood.
We are being targeted and we are being oppressed. They hate us too much, and they think we are infidels. On 1st January, they marked our compound house with the Daesh people, and they marked it with Rafidi. And we were afraid, that they might kill us. They were trying to, move to Greater Aden, But unfortunately, we were having, some problems at home and like this, repair and something. Said we will finish this and then we will move. But unfortunately, on 16 January 2015, at 7:30, while my son was coming from work, they followed him and threw a bomb on his car. And he was bleeding very heavily. My family also heard this explosion, but they said it might be anything, They didn't realize that it was their brother, I was at that time in Greater Aden, and he was bleeding very heavily for 20 minutes, and these all people were watching. They were afraid that there might be another explosion, so they didn't go nearby, and he lost most of his blood. And although the refinery hospital was very, very nearby, 2 to 3 minutes distance, they took him there, but because he lost most of his blood, he breathed his last. Nobody saved him. I saw him in his body, and he got hurt in so many places, in the face and in the throat, and most of his front part of his body. How do you think, especially a father of 60 years, burying his son, a 30-year-old. He wanted, I was thinking that I should be in this place, instead of him, always the old man, father, he will want his, son to be alive while he, lives first. Left his, 2 kids and wife and young, and while we are old people still alive. Who will not miss him? Always I used to look at him. I kept also my wallpaper, his picture, and used to look at him all the time. Always pray for him. Allah grants him paradise in Firdaus ala Alin with Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, inshallah.
I think after 3 weeks from the war, my father decided to go outside just from our house to our relative house. It's outside Aden. So this is the first step that we have taken. So we took our car, we go on, we took just important stuff, and we went there. Unfortunately, when we went there, also we found the crimes is continuously, the war increased. So that's why we traveled from Aden to Hodeidah first, and from Hodeidah to Djibouti. I think it's too sad to leave your house, to leave your neighbors, to leave all this stuff just to escape or to be alive.
Between the 12th of April and the 24th of April 2015, over 400 Khoja Shia Momineen were rescued from Hodeidah and brought on a sambuk to Djibouti. These Momineen made their way from various parts of Yemen to Hodeidah. It was a dangerous journey, with Al-Qaeda checkpoints every few miles. Many of them, their houses were shelled and destroyed. The children in the Djibouti camp are still psychologically affected by the gory images they witnessed. Militants, shooting, bodies and destruction everywhere. Making their journey through such a situation, Bereft of everything, hiding their faith, they reached Hodeidah. They made the 36-hour journey from Hodeidah to Obok, Djibouti in rough seas. We had amongst them the elderly and disabled, pregnant women and children too. But Alhamdulillah, we reached safely where the World Federation volunteers were waiting for us with food and blankets and medical aid.
The whole project, this whole Yemen project, started for us as the World Federation in December of last year. And we started getting emails from the president of the Aden Jamaat to say that our community there, which is based in Aden and Hodeidah, Sana'a and Mukalla, was having a lot of problems. It became worse in January, February, and in March the idea of an evacuation was mooted.
In the beginning, they have tried to evacuate us from Aden, since most of the parts of Aden were controlled by the Al-Qaeda people. Even though our place, crater, was not controlled there, but we should, if we want to move to another cities such as Hodeidah or Sana'a, we cannot move unless we move from such places where they are controlling. So in the beginning, it was impossible to move to the port, seaport. The seaport also was controlled by the Qaeda people, and also the airport side was also controlled by them. So it was decided that we should go by bus to Al-Hodeidah. And to make them don't know our position, first we moved from Aden to Lahaj, and from Lahaj to we have moved on the coastal side to Hodeidah. In Hodeidah we have the World Federation have prepared for us the accommodation and food and everything, and for 2 weeks we stayed there, and then they bought a sambuk, and in that sambuk we have moved from Hodeidah to Obok.
I arrived at the airport. I was delayed at the airport for 9 hours or so. But what had transpired is that World Federation had contacts on the grounds, and they managed to get me out. And as soon as we got out, there were 12 people already present at the seaport who we had to provide emergency relief for, and that's where we had gone. Now, after clearing them all out, or actually simultaneously to doing all the processes to get them out, with the World Federation contacts on the grounds in Djibouti, what we were able to do simultaneously was to sort out the housing for the first 12 that have arrived. And they managed to book some hotels, and last minute hotel booking in Djibouti, where the inflation of prices have gone real high because of the influx of Yemenis coming into Djibouti, was a huge thing. So to find last minute hotels was a huge challenge, but luckily enough, with the World Federation contacts on the ground, we managed to locate and find a hotel for the first 12 to get housed, and food, water, drinks, etc. was provided. As soon as the first 12 of our community members arrived at a place where they felt so relieved and at peace that there was somebody there for them, and this gave them a peace or some sort of solace in their hearts to say, there's somebody out there for us. There is somebody out there. God's answered their prayers somehow or the other. So, and it's a sense of pride for me to be involved with the World Federation in such a momentous task that we had to carry out over here.
I think one thing that maybe we have to really highlight is that really we haven't just helped members of the Khoja community. Yes, the majority of them would be part of our membership at our centers in Yemen, but actually we also took members of the Ahlul Sunnah. We took also Shia who are not Khoja, for example. We actually took people who were integrated with our people and those who really needed help. I remember we took at least 14 or 15 Kenyan individuals for which we had a request to take them as well, who are not sure what their even religion was. was. So one good thing that has come out is it shows that our community is not looking at helping its own or looking at religion or denominations or ethnicity, but able to help all. And I think that is one great achievement that came out of this project.
So upon my arrival at the seaport, we were told that one of the elderly women was taken into the hospital for dehydration, and again the view, the scene that arrived in, it was of distraught, where our members were all on the floor, lying down. Some of them were really crying and very emotional. And it was as if they didn't have nothing or no one to help them with anything. So after fleeing war and conflict, they arrived in Djibouti with another struggle where they were facing to be taken to the UNHCR camps. And I went in there to comfort them and give them solace and to say, no, look, the World Federation are here now, and we will do our utmost best to provide the emergency relief. And straight away in my head I was already thinking, I need to go to the UN desk. From the corner of my eye I saw one of the UN officials who was ready to leave to go home after a long shift. Straight away I approached him, inquired about specifics of how to release our people and take him into our auspices. We had coordinated for the World Federation volunteers to come onto the grounds in Djibouti to prep for the emergency relief for the Yemeni community members. As soon as they arrived in Djibouti, it was all strategically planned so that everything goes very efficiently through the immigration processes.
We are very thankful to this World Federation and Jamaat of the World Federation that they helped us and brought us, and they cleared us from especially Obok, which is very, very, you guys can say it's a very rubbish place, and especially not comfortable or anything for especially families and children and kids especially, because very hot and very dirty place. And not even safe also, you see, for families. So we are very thankful that we have been cleared from this place.
Now, as you can see, Obok is not the greatest of areas, it's not the greatest of places, and we had to do everything in our power to get our people out of this camp from Obok. And we, just to walking around here in such heat, such hot weather, I knew that our people cannot stand with this weather and cannot cope with such harsh environments. And to think of our people staying here, the reality hit me. Once they arrived in Djibouti city, we had to go through the immigration clearance processes and straight into our housing facilities, or under our auspices that we had arranged. If we hadn't intervened in providing them emergency relief in Djibouti, what would have happened? They would have been taken straight to the UNHCR camps. So we're here in the middle of the desert, and this is exactly where the camp is, and the living conditions here, you can only imagine, with the heat, the sunburns, etc. If we never intervened, if World Federation never intervened, our people would have been stuck here since April. This was very important because the situation was dire. They fled from everything and left everything, and they've lost everything. People have lost their lives. What was critical for us providing the emergency relief here on the grounds was of providing housing facilities so that they have somewhere a shelter, some water, hygiene, sanitation, but also primary health care leading into secondary and tertiary should it be needed. So we were in communication with the local government and with the government hospitals as well as private hospitals to conduct any healthcare cases that we may have.
I started here to work as a doctor. The World Federation requested me that you are a doctor and you can help us. I start to work with him as a volunteer. We try, when we work with the patients, we don't bring our problems with them. We try to forget that we have problems. For example, there's many people ask me this question, how you are also refugee, and you try to think about the other problems and you forget your problems. No, it is our job.
So we're going to sort out all the rent and water, sanitation bills, etc., as well as you know, the service coordination part. You also have food security, so food rationing and stuff. So what I'm going right now to do is to sort out the facilitation for that. However, we've also empowered the local community to also run things themselves. So what we do is provide them the tools to carry on and work towards a smoother plane, basically.
Reference number, name of head of family.
You know, one thing, initially I was thinking of getting our objectives done, and as time went on, getting to know every single family or every single story, what have gone through, from someone's son being murdered or threats towards their lives of just about fleeing and escaping that, all because of what?
When we left our home, actually we left our history, I left my habits, I left my childhood, I lived all this stuff. So that's why it's hard, that's why I am sad. My father, for example, is 60 years old, so he has to start a new life from the beginning.
Initially, our strategy was to relocate people into the EU and into North America as well, into the Western world. And upon arrival of the first Sambuk in April, we had sent immediately dossiers to the United Nations, to Germany, Portugal, Sweden, France, UK, as well later on, as well as Canada. And I think we had to do this to make an immediate impact. We even had nods from governmental heads that this would happen. But since then, and between then and now, we've had the Syrian crisis, where almost 1 million Syrian refugees have arrived in Europe. And really this took up this shot to pieces our resettlement plan. And instead now we have moved on to relocating them in different parts of the world.
As you know, that people are moving from Djibouti, inshallah, to different parts of African countries and India and Pakistan. For the people who are going to India and Pakistan, maybe they know the language, they can manage by meaning, even though they will require support from the community there. But for the people who are going to African countries, they have not even heard names of some African countries.
This decision is difficult decision. It's not easy to decide a country without any further knowledge. I have the registration of people who are going to countries and to decide countries. Actually, when one family consists, for example, from 3 or 4 people, and they came in the morning and they registered, for example, country. Another that in the afternoon they changed.
One important point I think we all as community members need to reflect on is this doesn't really end with people or our refugees, more meaning leaving Djibouti. Actually, their process of resettling, of getting their lives back on track is only just starting. This was their temporary residence. And I think our humble appeal to each and every community member, part of the world, is to really help them when they see them in their jamaats, in their centers. They will be coming to Africa, to different parts of the world, to India, to Pakistan. And when you see them, just have a reflection on what they've gone through. Many of them have had their families abused, many of them have their houses destroyed, many of them have lost absolutely every possession that they had. Really, really, they need our help and support. It's not just financially. Maybe we can help them by giving them ideas, giving them job opportunities, maybe even just a smile and helping them reintegrate into our society, wherever we might be. I think this is a point really that we need to reflect on.
Anybody in my place, he want to go back. It is normally, because you must know that I lived there more than 50 years. It is not a simple thing for us to lift everything. No, it depends on the situation, how the situation will be. No, today it is difficult. Maybe tomorrow and after 2-3 years, maybe after months, the life will be better. Then anybody can want to go back.
We have to try another, and we have to go and to start another life, and it will be better.
Well, the main thing is I want to be in a safe environment, especially if it is nearby the Shia community and nearby the masjid and Husseiniya, it will be better. And I hope, my son gets good education there, and inshallah we are live a good life.
If you can help anybody, don't try to see who is it and from which Jamaat he is. If you can help him, try to help him, because if you help him, God will help you. Allah always will help you because you help people.
The first thing, actually, we appreciate all efforts that happened before. We are able to start again, we are able to work again, we are able to do everything, but still we need the main support at the beginning at least.
And I thank also to all the people who helped us from the first day till today. I cannot say the names because may I forget a name. It is better that to thank in general all the peoples, small, big, volunteers, donors, etc. I thank them for all their efforts they have given to us, and inshallah it will continue because we are brothers. May Allah give them rewards in the next life and also in this life. Thank you.
We've seen here a death of a community member. We've seen a birth of a young life just coming into the world where the future is being thought about by people. So, the whole life cycle of hardship, difficulty, then comes ease. You've sort of gone through all those step by step, but yet there's only one word I can think of, and that is gratitude. That we have a community that will respond to the call of our brethren.